By Amy Ferris Rodman. Washington Post, August 6, 2018. Moscow. Senator Rand Paul, one of President Trump's more eager defenders on Russia, jetted into Moscow on Monday in a bid to increase engagement with the country. The Kentucky Republican met with several Russian senators, including Sergei Kislyak, Russia's former envoy to Washington and a key player at the heart of the election meddling scandal that continues to rock relations between the United States and Russia. In a meeting at Russia's upper house of parliament, Paul also invited Russian lawmakers to meet with members of Congress, in Washington or elsewhere. Interfax news agency cited him as saying, "I think this is incredibly important," Paul said after the high-profile sit-down. "That meeting could take place as soon as this fall," said Konstantin Kosachev, head of the Foreign Relations Committee in the upper house. Monday's whirlwind visit to Moscow, however, was not part of official diplomacy. Senator Rand Paul is visiting Russia as part of a private group, said a representative of the U.S. Embassy in Moscow. The senator, once a foe of the president, has emerged as a unique and somewhat renegade voice, coming as both Republicans and Democrats criticize Trump for not taking a tougher stance against Russia. The relationship between the two countries has sunk to lows not seen since the Cold War days, as they spar over a range of issues from election interference to the crises in Syria and Ukraine. Paul was accompanied by Republican Don Huffines from the Texas Senate, and the president and CEO of the Libertarian Cato Institute, Peter Godler. The group also planned to visit St. Petersburg and President Vladimir Putin's hometown, Russian state-run media reported. Paul's visit occurred just weeks after a delegation of Republican representatives visited Moscow for meetings with the Russian parliament, as well as Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov, the first time the two sides had direct contact in some years. That largely conciliatory meeting, held over the July 4th holiday, was met with bipartisan scorn at home. Paul is a key supporter of Trump's controversial interactions with Putin, heralding the leaders' Helsinki summit last month as exactly the sort of action Washington should be taking to mend ties between the two. The summit drew sharp criticism at home after Trump suggested he was inclined to believe Putin's version of events regarding the 2016 U.S. presidential election, that is, Russia's denial of meddling, over the conclusions of the U.S. intelligence community. Paul has also long insisted that Russia did not interfere, a sentiment reiterated by Kosachev after his meeting with the senator. "And it will certainly not happen during the ongoing election campaign, either," he told reporters, referring to the midterms, Interfax reported. Kosachev said Paul has access to Trump and top U.S. officials, and we expect that we will be able to convey through him our signals of a desire to establish dialogue, according to the state-run RIA Novosti news service. A bipartisan group of senators introduced legislation last week to impose crushing sanctions on Russia for interfering in U.S. elections, amid warnings that November's midterm elections may be targeted. Special counsel Robert Mueller is investigating Russian meddling in the 2016 presidential campaign, after the U.S. intelligence community concluded that Putin ordered efforts to undermine Democratic candidate Hillary Clinton and aid Trump. The Senate is also investigating the alleged interference. Kosachev said members of his committee are ready to discuss this question in a reasoned manner with U.S. counterparts.